We all have that occurrence where you're driving behind a rock truck on the highway and they hit a bump and boom, you get that freaking windshield crack. Damn, I hate that. So I've gone through a couple of issues with this windshield, and I probably should just replace it at this point, but I thought I would do a video and run through the instructions on this kit. This is the RainX windshield repair kit. Last time I got a cheap off-brand name and tried to get it to work to handle a crack on my windshield, and it was miserably terrible. It did not work at all. But this time I decided, let's go with the brand name and see if we can get this very typical, come on, focus. This very typical windshield pit out of a windshield here. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the instructions. All right, so this RainX windshield repair kit. I bought this on Amazon for about $11, got delivered to my door, didn't have to even go to the hardware store. So that's really great. It had some really good instructional videos on the Amazon site, and it looks like it'll do a pretty good job for exactly what I'm looking for. This looks like I've got a bullseye crack right here. And you can see when you look at the reflection, there's a little divot right there, just a little tiny divot. It doesn't go out, it doesn't take out a whole lot, but that little point right there is what we're going to try to fill in and see if we can get this thing to do the job that it's meant to do. So this says it's intended for multiple uses, so I'm going to open this package gingerly so that I can hang it back up on my cork board, and we'll see if we can reuse this thing again. On the back it says use the instructions on the inside, so we're not going to even refer to the back. That's just marketing material as far as I'm concerned. But here's the before and after, what they're saying I can get. So let's see if this is the before. Let's see what the after ends up like. So this is what it says on the back here. It does use UV light, so it's a nice sunny day out today. We'll be able, once we get it done, we'll put it out in the sun and get a good UV cure on it. And so I think we're good to go. Let's open this thing up and see what's inside. All right, this is what comes inside the kit here. You see we have a little compression device here to help us to, I imagine this, if you can look at this, it looks like it creates a positive pressure. And that screws into this little, what they call applicator base. This is your applicator base. Now this has got suction cups on it, so you'll stick that to the windshield right over the top of the hole, wherever the offending item is. It has a number of these sheets. These are really good for when you get the resin, and this is the resin, the repair resin that goes on there. It's UV sensitive, so once you get it on there, you put this on and it makes the resin flat. It uses a capillary effect to make a flat surface. And then you put it out in the sun and then it dries up. But the trick with this is to get as much of the resin down into the crack as you can. So those are the things that come with it. You get a little compressor, you get an applicator base, a couple of these sheets, some resin. There's certainly enough in there to do a couple of applications. Comes with a razor blade to clean your windshield before and after, and some detailed instructions. So let's go through these instructions. We're going to do this step by step and get the best result that we can. Number 1, remove any glass fragments by scraping over it with a razor blade. That razor blade comes with it. Affix the applicator base to the windshield. Make sure the center ring is centered above the brake and the suction cups are firmly attached to the windshield. Do not allow the suction cups to cover any cracks extending from the central impact. You don't want them to get stuck to the resin when it gets in there, so that makes sense. We just have a bullseye, so it's not a problem. All right, so let's go ahead and do step 1. All right, so we're doing some preliminary cleaning of the window here. But we're going to check and make sure that there are no chips or anything protruding beyond the window's surface. Make sure we have a good clean area for the resin to take and for the feet on the applicator base. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's give that a wipe down. Alright, so the applicator base is made up of 4 suction cups. It kind of makes sense to me that we should probably wet these just a little bit so they can have a really good suction. I'm not going to lick them, but I am going to wipe them down real quick. I got kind of a wet rag here. Just wanted to make them just moist, not soap and wet or nothing. Alright, going to put that over the top of the hole best I can. That looks pretty good. Okay. This one over here doesn't seem to want to. Okay, that looks good. Just so you can see how I've got that lined up, the applicator base with the hole pointing directly over the top of the bullseye. Let's go ahead and move on to step number 2. All right, so step number 2 says to take the resin chamber and center it on the top of the hole with the rubber mouth directly on top of the point of impact. So when you're looking at that, you can see on their diagram that when you get the resin chamber, it actually has 2 pieces. And so I've already taken the center piece out. And you can see on the bottom piece, this right here is rubber. You can feel it. It's flexible, just a little bit flexible. And we want to get that hole right there positioned directly over the top of the crack. All right, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so it might be hard to see when you're working directly over the top, but don't forget you're looking at a windshield. So you can actually see where the crack is and position it and make whatever adjustments that you need going back and forth to get that hole directly over the top. So what's going to happen is you're going to put a little resin in there, and then we're going to tighten that up so that it's secure, and then we're going to push positive pressure. We're going to push the resin into the hole so that it fills up all those voids. So just do what you can to confirm that you have that directly over the top of the hole, and move it back and forth as necessary so you can get it directly over the top. So before we move on to the next step, I just want to point out, windshields aren't flat. So this device is going to be running at an angle. So when you're looking at it, make sure you're looking at it perpendicular. And the other thing is, the crack might give you a shadow or a ghost image that is off center. What you're trying to focus on is the actual divot, the hole at the top. So make sure that you're looking at the reflection of the glass, and find in the reflection of some sort of a light source or something, find that chip, and that's where you're trying to put the center on. If you can see, once you get it in there, you want to smash it just a little bit, not too much, so that rubber has a good seal. All right, step 3 says squeeze 3 to 6 drops of repair resin, depending on how much you need to put in there. It's kind of up to you. Into that chamber. Now you just made a seal, so you want to put it right down in there. If the resin leaks out the bottom of the resin chamber, gently turn the resin chamber clockwise just enough to prevent the leakage. If you got a good seal, when you put that chamber in there, it shouldn't leak. Try to make these things idiot-proof, but there's just too many idiots, and I'm one of them, I suppose. My first impulse was to unscrew the cap here. What you really want to do is just pop this top off. When you pop that top off, then you'll be able to see. This is where, whoops, this is what you need. This is the little deal that you need to cut off. Come on, focus. You need to cut this off in order to make it so that this becomes a dropper. Here you go, cut the little tip off, and now I have a dropper. The stuff's really, really runny. It's like runnier than water. It's probably some kind of alcohol. All right, I'm gonna try 4 drops. Let's see if we can get it to go all the way down there. I don't know how you're gonna measure 4 drops. Okay, I think I got some in there. Well, we'll have a look. All right, so step 4 says to screw it in there. Tighten the pressure until it's screwed almost all the way in. And then from inside the car, check to make sure the door mouth has opened wide and allow the resin to be absorbed into the brake. You want to wait 4 to 6 minutes, depending on the extent. If the resin has not reached all the areas of the brake, you may apply heat to the inside of the windshield with a hot gun or a hairdryer. Because the heat will make it so that it will go further in there. All right, so let's go ahead and push some pressure in there and look from the inside. Let's have a look and see. Got the camera with the light on it. Let me see if we can. I don't know if I can detect any more of the crack. It looks like it's pretty well filled in. I wish I had recorded it while I was tightening it in so we could see the crack being filled. But it looks like, there's a little bit of a bubble. There's just a little bubble right there. I don't think that that's a problem. But it looks like we got the crack pretty well filled in. All right, so step number 5 is basically rinse and repeat. What they're saying on this one is to unscrew and remove the pressure driver from the resin chamber and release any trapped air. We did see a bubble in there. And now it's quite likely that bubble could be from inside the glass, or the bubble might have been added when I put the pressure chamber together. But regardless, we need to relieve that bubble that we did see. And then it says make sure there's no air bubbles remain in the brake, and check from the back side. Chips or bullseyes, they'll have a darker color, green or black areas. If there's any damage still visible, repeat steps 4 and 5 until satisfactory results are achieved. Make sure there is enough resin remaining in the resin chamber if necessary. All right, so this is what they got going on here. This is basically an inventory of what's in the part. So, step number 6, I think that we're good. I'm just going to pull the air out of there and then we'll check it. After the air has been removed, turn the resin chamber and pressure driver together, half a turn, counterclockwise. Remove the entire apparatus by lifting up on the small tabs of the suction cups. Gently wipe away any excess resin from the applicator so it does not drip. Add a drop of repair resin onto the areas where the damage is still visible and cover with a curing strip. That's these curing strips right here is what you do to make the top of the windshield flat. Gets rid of that little chip. The curing strip for finished touches. When applying curing strips, no pressure is necessary. Just gently place the strips on the glass. When the entire application is complete, move the car into direct sunlight to use ultraviolet light. That is number 7. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we got. We'll pull this off and then put a curing strip on. Video. All right, I'm going to loosen this up a little bit to make sure the bubbles get out. And we're going to loosen this whole thing. It should be loose. Now we're going to pull these little tabs up. Pull the whole apparatus off. You can see I have a little bit of resin dripping there. Look at that. That looks like a pretty good shot. You can't even see it. All you can see is the duck now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put a curing strip on that and get it flat, and then we'll take it out and put it in the sun. A couple of little quick notes on cleanup here. First off, this is intended to be something that you can use over and over again, but they don't talk about that in the instructions. You want to make sure that you disassemble these screw together parts, because if that resin cures, they're not coming apart. Second of all, these rubber parts, you need to make sure that the resin comes off of that, because you need them to stay pliable. So nice clean cloth, wipe that down, get the resin off of that as best you can. This didn't get dirty, so it's not a problem. As far as keeping this cured, all you need to make sure is you keep it out of the sunlight and keep it upright. I don't know if the lid really seals that well, but as long as you keep it upright, you won't have any leaking. And that's what I intend to do. I'm going to reuse this box. I didn't cut it all the way through the bottom. I just cut it so I can refill it through the top. And we'll hang it upright on my little my little pegboard on the workbench. So, okay, there you go. You see I got a little curing strip on here. And it's sitting out in the direct sunlight. Yeah, bright sun. We'll let that sit for a few minutes and cure, and then once we pull that curing strip off, all we need to do is give it a little shave with the razor blade. And this project will be done. All right, it's been about 5 or 10 minutes. Enough time for me to go eat an orange. I don't know, that doesn't say go eat an orange in the instructions, but I don't care how you spend your 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. This is our curing strip. I think these are very reusable, so I'm going to be mindful to keep a hold of that, put it behind the windshield wiper. All right, I got a razor blade. I don't even know where to cut. There it is. Boy, this is so good. I can't even see where to trim it. But here you can see I'm just getting all the old resin off where the hole used to be. Wow. Impressive. Can't even see it. I mean, you can, if you know it was there. I can't even see it. The actual hole is right there by the duck. So I can't see that. That's a great job. All right, so that's following the instructions, step 1 through 7 on the RainX windshield repair kit. I think it works great. We'll call this a success. Thank you, RainX, for solving my windshield problem. If you have any questions or comments, throw them in the comments section. I love to answer those. I love the banter. Have a good day. Cheers.